Carlos Ramsey's with the enhancing mind. Be careful. The heart can long for struggle. It can long for suffering. It can long for scarcity. And is it because we like to be in these states, or is it because we like to be in these life situations? Of course not. But can we get used to these environments? Can we get so good at navigating the struggle that dealing with it becomes our comfort zone? Absolutely. And you need to be careful with that, right? Let me share this with you. On my own path to self mastery, I observed something in myself. And when I saw it in myself, it was almost like developing a new sense. All of a sudden, I began to see it in a lot of people. What I noticed about myself, and maybe you'll notice this about yourself too, is, especially when you're used to a tough life, when things finally start to work out for you, instead of feeling more comfortable and more stable, you actually begin to feel more uncomfortable. And the foundation under you actually begins to feel even more unstable, right? There's this new term floating around to describe this feeling, and apparently it's called cherophobia. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. When things finally start to work out, you begin to develop this anxiety that it's only a matter of time until the other shoe drops. And it can take a lot of self work to get over this anxiety, especially, like I said, if you come from scarcity. If you come from a working class family like myself, right, this talk is probably going to resonate a little more with you. To give you an idea of my background, my mother immigrated from Mexico in the 80s, and I'm first generation American. So my family started from the bottom, so to speak. I mean, despite the hurdles throughout the years, I am really proud of where my family is now, and I'm grateful for the sacrifices my abuelita and my mom made before I was born so that I can have the chance that I have here, right? The chance to help you become the best you and the chance to make them proud and let them know that their sacrifices were worth it. So, shout out to those two women in my life. Now, growing up, we had what we needed and only sometimes a little more. So, fast forward to when I moved out on my own. Obviously, even then, it wasn't easy, right? Early 20s, low paying job, rented a room in San Diego. Lots of fun, but not much growth. But I always had my eyes set to the stars. Always. I always wanted to be successful, and something in me always knew I would be, but I had no route. I didn't have anyone in my life to mentor or guide me, right? I had to figure things out on my own. So push forward, maybe a few years after that, I finally get into sales and start making decent money. For the first time ever, you guys, holy cow! Let me tell you this. I mean, the difference money makes in your life, it's insane, right? But anyways, when I finally started making good money, something happened to me, and I'm leaving a lot out. If you want to know how my life led me from where I was to where I am now, talking to you, read the prologue in my book. But something happened to me when everything started to work out for me. I was making good money. I was getting in shape. My wife and I were happier than ever. We had our daughter. She was happy. Yada yada yada. Right? Rainbows and sunshine. So tell me why, in the midst of all of that, I had this fear, and it was more than just a fear of this lifestyle going away. It was more of a like head back to shore kind of anxiety. I'm in way too deep here. I remember one night looking at my bank account, and the bills were paid. We went to Disneyland. I got a new BMW, new clothes, gifts for the wife, and I still had like 6 grand in my account. Which again, if you come from working class, that's a lot to just have sitting around in your bank account. And I remember staring at it, and I remember thinking like this doesn't seem right. I remember thinking I need to spend this money. What can I spend it on? I need to get it out of my account. This doesn't make sense. It just didn't compute for me, right? I was losing weight and doing great on my diet, and when I made any kind of incremental progress, I found myself at the drive-through of some crappy restaurant. I would literally be paying at the drive-through when I think, "What the heck am I doing here?" I was doing so good for myself. Things were actually working out for me, but I was having all these weird feelings and reactions to my life actually getting better. And it was at that moment that I had to stop, right? I had to dial it back. I had to figure out what the heck this was. So I did. And I realized it's my heart. Obviously, not the organ itself, but the soul, right? Something in me felt like it wasn't home. Felt like I wasn't home. We don't realize that our minds can make things other than a place a home. It can make it can make a certain group of people feel like home, right? We've all felt that one. But did you know that your heart can also make specific life circumstances feel like home? I didn't know that. And honestly, it's not something I've heard anywhere else before. Maybe this is the first time you're hearing it too, but look around a little, right? You'll see it to be true. You ever heard the term self sabotage? We all know someone like that. We might be like that ourselves, where things start going well and we just have to screw it up, or they just have to screw it up, right? They have to break it or mess it up somehow, and now they're back to the same as always. And for many of us, it can be confusing as to why people do that to themselves or why we do that to ourselves. The truth is, the heart can long for comfort. And sometimes our comfort can reside in the uncomfortable, in the unbearable, in the unstable. So when things go good, when things finally go from uncomfortable to comfortable, from unbearable to bearable, we might not know how to navigate that environment, right? You would think we would dive right in and problem solved, happy life. It's about freaking time. Let's ride off into the sunset. But it isn't, right? That isn't the case all the time. That isn't the case with a lot of people. And it all comes down to what you know how to handle and the comfort of knowing what's next. If you know you're not going to have money and you know how to prepare for that, you put extra food to the side, barter a few things here and there. You're good until the next check, right? You've done this for years, you know what to expect. You can effectively navigate an environment of scarcity. And a lot of us do. So when the opposite comes, you work hard, you know, you work out of that neighborhood, you work out of that tax bracket and get yourself into an environment of abundance, well, it can feel like a culture shock. So how do we navigate these feelings? This is going to be especially important on your path to self-mastery because as I mentioned in the book, if you do the actions that are taught to you, you will see a shift in your life. You absolutely will. If you're following the book the way it's intended, the way I wrote it, you will see an uptick in life quality. So when that day comes and you feel like me, like a fish out of water, where you're finally out in the sunshine, but you want to run back into the cave, do this. Meditate. That's what helped me. Meditate with intent. So, to give you an idea, I did it every night before bed because I don't wake up early enough for anything, right? I'm not that guy. So, what I do is I'd lay on my bed, and while my wife was in the shower, I close my eyes, and with my eyes shut, I gently look up towards the center of my brow, right? And I focus on nothing but my breathing for about 2 or 3 minutes, right? It takes about 2 or 3 minutes, maybe for you, it'll take a little longer at first. It'll take about 2 or 3 minutes to get in a state where your mind is calm. Once it's calm, focus on these feelings. Focus on your heart wanting to go back to the place you just worked yourself out of. And then tell yourself that you are grateful for having lived that part of your life. You are grateful for the lessons, for the work ethic that it gave you, whatever you want to be grateful for about your life as it once was. Then, once you do all that, tell your heart that despite despite being grateful, you are excited and also grateful for this new life in front of you. You don't know what this life is going to bring, but you trust yourself and your God or your universe or whatever you believe in to guide you to where you need to be as it has guided you here to this point. Then silence the mind and feel those emotions circulate throughout your body. Feel the gratitude, feel the excitement, feel the calm, enjoy it. And then let yourself drift off to sleep. Do this every night until one day you realize the fear is gone. The heart no longer longs for struggle. The heart the mind, and the soul are aligned with you, ready for this new chapter in your life, accepting of this new quality of your life, this new quality that you have built for yourself, this new quality that you deserve. Try this out. Let me know how it helped you, if it helped you. And if you try something new that really helped you out, share it with us. I might share it with the masses. So that's all I've got for you. Carlos Ramses with the Enhancing Mind. Talk to you soon.